Welcome everybody to Go Local Live. I'm Josh Fenton, CEO and co-founder. It's Wednesday. It's Mott Chace Day. Mott Chace has obviously brought this great weather with it. It is completely home buying season. We've got Ben Scungio. Ben, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, Josh. We'll take all the credit for this good weather.
Okay, weather is yours. Let's talk about the weather. We're just getting these early signs of we're getting out of a rough and tumble winter. What's it going to mean? We've seen the housing prices continue to climb up, rental prices way up. What's all this mean?
It means that, the real estate market is as unpredictable as ever. We've been scratching our heads since 2020 when the pandemic started. And we're just like, what is going on here with this market? Nothing makes sense. You can look at the historical data, you can try to project what's happening, and everybody has pretty much been wrong. So it is what it is. We continue to try to, work our way through this market and figure out the best way to advise our clients. But I can tell you, historically, I've come on the show and I've said, over the past few years that, I don't think there's a specific time to buy a house because the market velocity has been so extreme over the past 3 to 4 years. But I think things have definitely slowed down a little bit in January and February. The snow outside has definitely stopped some people from looking at homes. But, we can go over the numbers and they're pretty telling on what could be potentially happening.
Yeah, I mean, Mike Sweeney was on last week. He made the point, there's only 8 houses for sale on the east side of Providence. 8. Yeah. And only 2 of them over $1 million. Those other houses are more in the, in the Hope Street area, in the Mount Hope area, smaller houses, but there's just nothing in inventory right now in some of the most desirable areas.
Yeah, 763 single-family homes are on the market in the state of Rhode Island right now. That is low. 216 condos and 175 multifamilies. I mean, the numbers are low. But if you look at the data and you start calculating absorption rate, which is a metric that we use a lot because it really predicts what a balanced market is, what it is and isn't a balanced market. If you take the amount of homes that have sold from February 1 to February 26th, the absorption rate is 3.66%. And a balanced market is anywhere between, it's 3.6 months. And a balanced market is anywhere between 5 and 6 months. So I think that we are going to see inventory start to increase. Just that metric alone is kind of pointing us in the direction that we're going to see more homes come on the market. But, the buyers are still out there. Interest rates on average right now are 6.8% nationwide. I'm seeing a lot of people look at 7% plus interest rates. I think that is going to continue to fluctuate plus and minus off the 7%, but there's still buyers out there. I was just talking with some of my colleagues this week, and at price points between say 350 to 550, they're seeing 20 to 30 groups come through open houses again. I mean, that is like 2021 levels. So it's very interesting. We're gonna buckle up and we're gonna see what happens again, Josh.
When do boomers start to sell? I mean, it really is, all the data shows it. You've got these massive houses, especially in the Northeast, big old barns that people would have normally sold, when the 2 kids go off to college. And these things, and it's a key part of the housing market. These folks are staying later and later and later in these homes, kind of blocking families from growing in 4-bedroom homes.
Sure. Yeah, the boomer market has been something we've looked at for a really long time because that is the inventory that needs to open up for people in, say, like the 30s, the 45s, the millennial generation to kind of move from their smaller starter home to their larger home. And there's been very little movement in that market. They don't want to move. They prefer to stay in their home, make improvements, make additions. It's been something that we've struggled with a lot. There's also not a lot, let me just back up there. A lot of the common feedback that we get, Josh, is like, there's no place for them to go. Like, there's not a lot of new construction for 55 plus communities. There's not a lot of apartment buildings. So they're kind of stuck. And, I don't think necessarily they want to go into the homes that the millennials are in and kind of do a swap. So that market is something that we watch very closely. it's going to be a really good indicator of the real estate market moving forward this year and next year. Because if we start to see a lot of those 4-5 bedroom homes, larger square footage homes, 25 to 3,500 square feet, come on the market, that's going to propel the rest of the market that's behind it. So then we're going to start to see those 2 to 3 bedroom homes, the condominiums, potentially multifamilies start to come back on the market, because we know those first-time home buyers, we know that market segment and what they purchased and what they need.
Median price of a single family home, I think, hit back up to 465 or 470. As you said, on fairly low number of transactions. And when you get down to those low numbers of transactions, 1 or 2 big houses in the state can actually impact what that median price is. Where do you see pricing go? We know the numbers for rentals continue to climb, 12% increase year over year, according to rent.com. The highest increase of any major city in the country was in Providence, and the Wall Street Journal is predicting that rent is going to continue to come upward in 2025 across the country. Where do you see pricing going on that traditional single family home?
On the record, we're going over the 5s. I mean, we have to. I mean,
Yeah.
All the data, everything just predicts that we're going over $500,000. I mean, we're almost there a few times last year, like 480, 490.
I think we were 499 one month.
499 one month. It's going to happen. Again, it's the inventory that is really the problem. There's just so much buyer demand. And when that inventory starts to come on, as long as the inventory doesn't flood the market, the prices are going to continue to increase. I mean, the national statistics are like a 5%, increase in property value this year. And the Northeast has always been a few points higher than that. So even if we see 7% appreciation this year, it's going to come over 5. It just has to come over 5 for sure.
Will the price of eggs delay further interest rate cuts, and potentially we're starting to see maybe some creep in inflation, forcing the Fed to take another look and at the most horrible thought possible that they could increase the prime?
Eggs and inflation. If I had a nickel every time somebody asked me about that, I'd be rich. And not a penny, because they're getting rid of that, right?
No more pennies. Yeah.
No more pennies. The inflation is really interesting because, I think that a lot of people don't really correlate that directly to the real estate market, but I think it has a significant impact on, what can people afford? Groceries are expensive. Everything's expensive. I say that all the time. I sound like a broken record when I say everything's expensive, but that plays in a lot to what people can afford. And if the interest rates are going to stay around 7%, which is, almost, it's over double than what they were just a few years ago. It's more than double. It's going to be really hard for people to afford just your basic, entry-level home. And in the state of Rhode Island, my prediction is that's going to be around $500,000. So what's the Fed going to do? I don't know. I think your guess is as good as mine, Josh. I don't see them doing anything reckless at this point in time. I think it's probably going to be status quo for a while, where people want to see rates come down. I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I think it's status quo for the next 6 months, and the president's head will explode as a result of it, because he wants a rate cut. But inflation certainly seems to be creeping in some of these things, especially if tariffs go into effect. You'll see inflation then buck upward. Let's talk a little bit about the I know you say it's a year-round experience, but the traditional spring selling season, which generally starts around the 2nd, 3rd week in March. You start to get a flood of houses coming on the market. People are now getting their houses ready, things getting painted, things getting fixed. Talk about that, how quickly that will emerge, and what to look for early in the spring selling season.
Yeah, I'm already seeing it start to emerge. I can tell you here at Mott Chace, Sotheby's International Realty, we have a ton of inventory that's going to come into the market. And when I say a ton, I mean, relatively speaking, a ton. Our agents are working really hard. We have photography requests coming through. The market there's going to be a lot of inventory entering the market from us, what I'm seeing on our end, definitely in the month of March. It could be as soon as the first week of March. I always felt it's weather dependent. And if we do not have a lot of snow and nasty weather, people are much more willing to get out of their home and go look at homes. So I think we're going to start to see the spring market, quote unquote, kick off probably, in the next 10 days or so. And with that being said, people who've been actively looking, get ready, get your pre-qualifications letters ready, get your, or pre-approval letter, work with your lender, go through pre-underwriting, just be ready to buy because it's going to happen faster than anybody wants it to happen. The inventory is just going to come on the market, and I don't want anybody to be left in the lurch.
So right now, as the numbers you gave, single-family condos and multifamilies, we're at about an inventory level of about 1,000 units combined.
Yeah.
In traditional, it jumps up to 3 and even 4,000. Are we going to see that tripling of the amount of inventory by, say, mid-April, end of April?
No, probably not. And let me tell you why. Right. So I pulled some national data before I came on, and there was some really interesting numbers. So nationwide in 2019, there was 5.3 million single-family and condominium sales in the entire country. Those numbers stabilized between 2020 and then spiked in 2021 to about 6.1 million single-family and condos that were sold. 2020 went to 5 million, 2023 went to 4 million, and 2024 was also around 4 million. The last time we saw 4 million single-family homes and condominiums sell in the United States of America was 2010.
Yeah.
So, but after 2010, we saw a small trickle. The bar graph moves up very, very slowly. So, is it going to happen quickly? Absolutely not. Is it going to happen? Do the trends say it's going to happen? Yes.
All right. What should buyers be doing here almost the end of February to be ready for the spring? You get the last word.
Get prepared. Preparation is key. Have your pre-qualification letter in hand. Be comfortable with the monthly payment regarding the price point that you're looking at. And when something comes on the market, be ready to pull the trigger because I can guarantee you the people who aren't prepared will also be in that group of, say 5 to 7, 10 people offering on that home. So the most prepared buyers and the most prepared agents win the multiple offer situation.
Ben Scungio, Mott Chace, we always appreciate Wednesdays and your insights. For everybody else, stay tuned. A lot going on. If you haven't seen the big story about Nicholas Sorsh, the one-time billionaire who lives down in Newport's been buying up small businesses around the state. Most recent one announced this week was New York Systems over in Olneyville, another iconic restaurant that he has purchased. We have a big story on what he has done throughout his career and now in Rhode Island, and a list of all the places that he's gobbled up over the past couple of years. Thanks, everybody. Stay safe. Get out and enjoy this great weather.